talk about the construction that they're thinking about and just give you a little bit of the highlights of what they're planning. And then if you guys had any questions or anything to talk about, you know the floor is always open. Our school improvement team is the guiding coalition that takes the data that we get from our assessments, our PARCC assessments, the MAP assessments, the informal, formal, all of that stuff. They take that information, we kind of analyze that data, and it really gives the direction that the school is going to go from that point on. So we talk about discipline data, we talk about, you know, what are we doing for our subgroups, our talented and gifted students, our at-risk students, our subgroup populations based on ethnicity, or so we look at the entire school program, and then we try to make decisions to help us inform what we're going to do next year. So the plan for this year has been based on what Mrs. Crowding had put into place before she left at the end of the summer. So now is the time that we start planning for next year. I would love to have 2 parents on the team because I think the input for the parents is critical. I would also like a community member, you know, somebody who may or may not have a student here, but you know, has a dog in the fight, so to speak, because of, you know, being where we live in such a small community. So you know, I kind of mentioned that last time, but I'm gonna start making some phone calls and voluntolding people. So when someone says they're on the SIT team, you can know that they were voluntold. But and I know that if I reached out to any one of you guys, your hand would go up, you would be there. So I don't want you to be offended that I'm not choosing any one of you guys. I'm trying to get more parents involved. Parents who are not, you know, because it's once a month, at, you know, at 8 o'clock we're going to meet before school, and you know, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to get, you know, a larger group of parents involved. So don't feel like if I didn't call you, you know, because I haven't called anybody yet. But that's my plan because I feel like, you know, we're in this all together. So we need to share the love, so to speak, share the love. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the construction. Now, we've met a couple times, and then, you know, Francois, you jump in anytime. It's not going to really start until 2 years from now. So, because right now what we're doing is just preliminary plans. We have met with the schematics of the school, and we've penciled and drawn and crossed out and penciled, you know, and we've had input from a lot of different resources. One important one being, you know, the Maryland State Department of School Construction has been here. We've talked to architects and things. So right away they're going to put the vestibule in, and the squeaky wheel, you call it what it will, but we're getting a door because that was my biggest thing. So what's going to happen this summer? This is a whole separate thing from the construction. I'll tell you that in a minute. We're going to get a set of glass doors that's going to cut the lobby off from the hallway, and those doors will be automatically locked. But in the morning when kids are coming in, those doors will be propped open because I have staff on duty there monitoring, you know, in and out. But the first window will become kind of like a bank teller window where, oh, you know, you're running in because, you know, your child forgot their lunch. You know, you don't want to come in and spend all day, you know, you just come in, drop it in there, and off you go. So you'll still get buzzed into the building, but you don't have to come in and access the school. That window will be there for that purpose. Now, then there's times like during the middle of the day where you would want to come in and maybe pick your child up early, drop something off, or, you know, for whatever reason, but you would want to gain entrance to the building. What's happening is when people come through that front door, when we buzz you in, we can't stop anybody in a timely fashion from going left, right, or straight into the building. Like you could say, I'm here to pick up, you know, Mrs. Redding sent me to pick up her child, you know, until I can get that clarification from Mrs. Redding, you know, I've let you in because you've used the right name, you have your ID, I don't know who, you know. So this glass vestibule will stop. That will give us a little more control over who's coming in, who's going out. So that's the plan. The second window that's on that hallway in the lobby will be a door, so that once 9:15 hits and we close the glass doors, the only way you're going to get entrance into the building is to go through the office. So you'll have to stop there. You know, I mean, I'm not to be gruesome or dramatic, but we all know, you know, if anything, God forbid, is going to happen, it's going to happen right there. we feel like that second set of doors will slow something down. And then, perhaps that would be able to be more beneficial for, for people not in the office. I know that every day, but anyway, so that's the plan for that, if you want to pick up your child, it just kind of routes everybody through the office. And that was my goal, just to kind of keep control of who's coming in and where they're going. The world in which we live. So that's going to happen this summer, I believe. The next thing is our big construction. It's going to be almost not a total renovation, but it's going to be a huge renovation that they're going to start at the end of next year. So it will go into next year. The very first thing that they're doing right away is the roof, the HVAC. That is getting done first. So we will have an entire new roof. So all of our beautiful, patterns on our drop ceilings will be gone. And our HVAC will be updated and hopefully a lot more efficient. That'll be the first thing they work on.
And air conditioning in the gym.
And we're putting air conditioning in the gym.
God.
Right? Right, thank you. You're right. So that'll be the first thing that they're gonna do. That's kind of there's 3 phases to this. It's the priority, which that's part of the priority list. Then there's the, we really should have this list. And then there's like, if Arlene had $1 million, this is what, so we have kind of 3 things going on. The air conditioning, the HVAC and the roof is on the priority list. We're also on the priority list is our cafeteria. Originally, the architect wanted to, in order to increase the cafeteria size, and if you've never been back there, it's go back there. It is the smallest I'm telling you, your house kitchen is larger than what we have back there. And we cook our food here. It's not brought in from anywhere. So the ovens and everything and freezers and all are used each day. So what's going to happen to create more room for them is they were going to bring the serving line into the cafeteria where the kids eat. And so the serving line would go through there. Then they were going to take over Mrs. Legg's room, the first classroom right there, and make that part of the cafeteria. So the teachers that were involved, that is a supervision nightmare. Because it would, in essence, be kind of 2 separate spaces. How are we going to monitor that? So we were, no, that's not what we're going to do. So we were able to change that plan. We're going to push out into the playground area. We can go about 20 feet. We're going to push that whole wall out for the cafeteria ladies and for the cafeteria where the kids eat. That will give us more space in there. It will also create a area where they can put the freezers, the walk-ins, and a bathroom for the ladies in that area. So where they have it right now can be part of storage, or it'll increase the size of that. So the line will stay in the cafeteria, in the kitchen area, but we'll have more room for the kids to sit. They'll also put the tables in the wall where they'll drop down, and then that way, kind of like Murphy beds, and then that way we can use it for a multi-purpose room instead of just a cafeteria. We'll be able to use it a little bit more efficiently. So those are the 2 priority. The other priority that we're going to do is we have a lot of wasted space. This being a middle school, we had girls' locker room, boys' locker room, different things that our kids, we're not changing for gym. We're not, that's not happening. So currently, I was able to move our PTA into the girls' locker room, so that space is being used efficiently. But the boys' locker room is where Mr. P and his equipment have been working, because the music room and the Title I offices are in the 2 offices that are in the gym. We feel like that's not a good use of space. So the old music room, which is if you come in through the ramp and the side doors here, is where our language support classes are. That used to be the music room, which is a good place for that. So we want to put that back into that area, and then we're going to redo the boys' locker room and because there's a bathroom in there, so our language support students who need help toileting, have privacy, and they're able to use the bathroom privately. And there's an area where we can put a changing table for those students that need that, and then a sensory room where they can have a sensory room for calming down, and then a comm room for just, so there's different ways that we're gonna reconfigure that. So we're gonna create a hallway through the closet that's near the handicap bathrooms. So that's gonna be a priority, so that we can move them into a safe and more convenient spot, and the music room can go back to where it was. And then he has places to put his pianos and his equipment, which will get it out of the PTA room, which will, so the domino effect that happens, the great, of the great change. So that's our goal right now. Those are the priorities, right?
Mm-hmm.
What am I forgetting?
Just making some other spaces like in this room.
So what we're gonna do on our next priority, what they wanted to do over in this corner here was to eliminate the steps. When you go to Mrs. Hogan's room, you go down the steps and up the steps. It's just bizarre, that whole section right there. So they were gonna flatten the whole hallway, so it goes right from from door to door, straight out flat, but they'd have to put a wall to wall off the hallway here. And so by doing that, there's no access to Mrs. Hogan's room from there, nor is it handicap accessible. So the plan was, when they flattened that hallway all the way across and put a wall up, they were going to put a ramp which would take out half of Mr. Harmon's room and half of Mrs. Kennedy's room. And we thought, we need those classroom, don't take classroom space from us. So we tried, and we sat in that corner, and we, the amount of brain power that went into what about
Every conceivable configuration.
Every conceivable configuration.
And the holdup was there is a cement block coming down from the ceiling that can't be altered. So if we pave across, now only people who are 4 feet tall can get down the steps, because there's no way to take that header out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
So we tried everything, but
we did.
So what we're gonna do is leave it alone. We're just gonna leave it alone, and we're gonna I think they're gonna put a chairlift.
Yeah.
So if we ever have a student, oh no, we changed that too.
We
What's
just
gonna
moved the
happen
classroom.
is, if there's a 5th grade classmate that needs a wheelchair access, the teacher is going to move, not the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, we can still have it.
Makes sense.
So because the rules for ADA, which are very, very clear, because you can access Mrs. Hogan's room if you go through the teacher's, the teacher's room and go through, but that's not fair to someone who, because that's not accessible for everybody. Like, they need to have the same access that everybody else has. So we would move the teachers instead. So that saved a lot of money right there, a whole lot of money, because we're not going to touch it. We're going to do what we need to do. So that got switched around. Then we talked about the media center. This media center is massive, and it, what we're going to do is we're going to build, starting where you see where the edge of the door is. There'll be a wall, so that way you can still have an area to access the media center from that hallway. And then this corner, we're going to make 2 rooms right here. This room over here will be the guidance counselor's room, because this door locks, and that can be the testing closet. It's also centrally located for all of the kids if there's an issue or whatever. So the guidance counselor's room will go here, and then on this side we're going to have our Title I, where the tutoring, and this is also centrally located. So right now the tutoring office, the Title I office, is in the gym, which is so far away from all of the children. It's just, you waste so much time. You would think, like, you're just walking, but between the time they get them there, get them settled, take them back, get them settled, that's a lot of time. So that'll be centrally located. So there'll be 2 rooms built in here. And I mean, we still have plenty of room for a quality media center.
And we talked about using some glass block for part of the wall, so it's not just a big wall in the middle of the room.
So that there's some, and then we'll have, even in here, I believe, we're gonna have
Those tubes.
Sky tubes, where you can have some natural light coming in, because that's part of what's going on too, is, naturally. So any of the interior rooms are going to have some tubes that will give them some natural light. Yep.
Yeah, well,
yep.
I like
Right, right.
They'll be sunburned.
They might get sunburned, you're right.
That's okay.
So those are the 2 rooms.
The science lab also, we're splitting.
Miss Van Bergen's classroom is a huge science lab. So we talked a lot about getting rid of that, splitting that room and making it 2 classrooms. The problem is the expense that would go into removing those science lab tables, turning off the gas, turning off the water, plugging all of that up, and then we don't know what's underneath of that. So there may be hundreds of thousands of millions of bazillions of dollars cleaning up whatever is there. The recommendation was to leave it alone. So so that room isn't going to be touched, but that will then become the 5th grade science room for next year. So that way in 5th grade, when they're doing, experiments and whatever they need to do, it'll be in that room. So, we're moving some classrooms around a little bit. In the industrial arts area, it's just a huge, big, just storage, part of it was district storage. When they consolidated some of the schools, a lot of the materials went here, but we've since got that cleaned out. It's a little more organized. So that room, will be more of our storage because we're losing some storage by taking over some of these rooms, which that'll be okay. The handicap bathrooms, according to the laws, are right here by the gym, and they're already handicap accessible. So we were able to meet that requirement. Some of the classroom doors are going to have to be reconfigured, either widened or change the way the doors open in and out so that they are handicap accessible if someone's in a wheelchair and needs to go through. So that's we have plenty of ramps. I mean, based on the ratio that's required by the state and by the federal laws, we're fine with what we have. So I think that's it.
Well, and I think they're going to try to do any of the construction that would be disruptive to school time as much as they can during the summer, but
Correct.
we're definitely going to have to
Yeah,
have some
disruption.
But I mean, the good
The
news,
outcome is better.
the good
Right.
news is that these are all capital improvement projects that have been approved already by the state and locally. So these, it may not be exactly as we've specified, but they're going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's going to be some growing pains.
There will be. There most definitely will be.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
And so one of the things, I know if you've been watching Dr. Couch and with the budget and, trying to get the budget approved for next year, one of the things that she's asking for, and I just want to, kind of give you the background of what she's asking for. So if you hear any conversation, you might be able to support how you feel one way or the other. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just telling you where she's coming from. One of the things she wants is another secretary in each of the buildings to help manage the vestibule because, checking ID, having just one secretary is tough. And so I think the commissioners are saying, but you've gone this long with one secretary, what's the big deal? So what they don't understand is, especially for us, and it's really just the elementary schools because the middle school and the high school already have more than one person in there, but we have 2 elementary schools that consolidated into one. The number of children doubled here, but not the number of secretary or guidance. The guidance secretary doesn't have one, but now she has double the number of kids, for the social worker and the guidance counselor. So what we're asking for is a person to help with the vestibule, checking ID and creating that safety, clearing people to come in and out. But she could then also be the secretary for the guidance counselor, where when we get requests for records, either to be sent or to be processed, they could do that. That will free her up to be able to be more with children instead of, we have to go through audits where the state comes in and looks at all of our files, randomly picks them. So she's been involved in all of that. She's also the testing coordinator. I mean, right now, that's pretty much all she's going to do until about June. So that would help her be able to still meet with kids. So that person that they want to hire is critical, and we're really hoping that they approve that because it is critical. The person that we have in mind, we were able to a week ago hire a full-time instructional assistant that is based at our school, and she is bilingual. So, I mean, that was done on purpose, not by accident. so that when she's in this building, our Spanish-speaking families now have someone they can talk to when they call, or when we have to reach out to somebody, or when we have documents to translate. But we are sharing her with special ed, which means that's her first priority, is to be, to be in a classroom with students, and then on, in the afternoon, she's gonna do that. So we're hoping that maybe next year, that we can keep her. Like, I don't know what the budget is gonna be, I don't know how that works, but we're hoping we can keep her so that we have that too. So perhaps she would be the one that goes, I don't know, I mean, we'd have to interview for that position. But I'd like to have somebody that's bilingual in the office, because our population has doubled from when Galena and Millington and Morton were just separate. We have almost 60 families now, almost 60, that are non-English speaking. So we want to be able to access and support them as well. The other thing she's talking about are the content specialists. She's asking for 3 content specialists. She wants support for our reading in English language arts, math, and our science and social studies. Right now, what's happening is Mrs. Giacomo is kind of overseeing, pre-K to 12, all of those. That's a lot. That is a lot. All of the content area. If we have specialists in these particular content areas, then what that does is supports our new teachers and getting them on up to speed quicker, because you have a content specialist who's an expert in that field, being able to support those teachers that need that. So that would really support our new teachers. It will really support our resources, our program. They would be going to State Department briefings and getting the hot new information and bringing it back to Kent County Public Schools, so that we're up to speed with everything that's going on, instead of not being the last to know, but that message will get out quicker and to who needs it faster. So that would only just benefit all of our kids, our teachers, and ultimately the parents, because it would really give our kids kind of level the playing field a little bit, I think. I'm trying to think of what was the other thing she was asking.
There was the IEP specialist.
Oh, the teacher specialist slash IEP specialist. What's happening now are there's not one person in any building that is in charge of kind of organizing the special education, which if any of you are aware of that, is absolute mounds and mounds of paperwork that are federally required. Federal, in order to get federal money for the program, you have to follow the steps in order to get that. That's 504s and that's IEPs. So inviting parents, making sure parents get the documentation they need, that takes hours, making copies, doing the report. So our special educators are teaching children, that's the priority. They're doing reports, they're testing, they're organizing parent meetings. There's only 6.5 hours a day, and an hour of that is lunch and recess for kids. So you can't pull kids during that time. So now, and then they get a special, and then so you see how their day is now just, this would free up that time to be able to make sure that we're compliant in all of our federal laws, that parents are getting everything that they should get ahead of time, so that they can be better prepared for the meetings too. So this person would run all of our IEP meetings to free up, so that our special educators are not losing an entire day of meetings. They'll have the meetings when it pertains to their child on that caseload, but then they'll be able to work with kids the other part of that day. So that's critical, is an IEP person. The other part of that person's job would be what they call a teacher specialist. So this would be the contact person for Galena Elementary, and whoever the content specialist is, to funnel all that information through, so that goes to the classroom teachers. This is also the person who could take testing away from the guidance counselor, so the guidance counselor can meet with kids and be more available and do classroom lessons and kind of do what they're not supposed to do, but do what their passion is to work with the kids. So these positions are in my opinion critical and of high need. So I don't know, if you're able to talk, or I know Monday night at the board meeting, I'm gonna speak on behalf of, the vestibule, and having that additional secretary that's very passionate for me. It's a safety thing, especially, I mean, anybody come to this school after 2:30 on any given day, and it is, it is chaos for one person. We've never lost a kid yet. And but once in a while, we don't get a message that a parent had sent, or they email us at 3:25, and we didn't get the email, so the child went on the bus, but now no one's gonna be home. So but we don't find out because the phones are ringing, parents are coming in, oh, I was driving by, let me pick up. Well, okay, that's your child, you're allowed to do that. But if we have one more person in there, that would help us kind of reduce that stress of making sure everybody goes where they're supposed to go.
And along with the security vestibule, they also got a bunch of security grants that include a special software package for completely managing visitors and volunteers. So it could be a really nice way to streamline how we're trying to work with volunteers. That system is connected to local police. So we'll know immediately if there's a change in who has custody, who doesn't have custody, all of that information. And this person will track that as well. And all the cameras are going to be updated, and they are also going to be connected to local police. So if there is something going on, they have immediate eyes in the building.
It just makes me feel better.
Yep. And it's grant money. I mean, it's not coming out of the budget. So
Nice.
I'm going to say SOS is encouraging people to come to the county commissioner meeting on Tuesday. It's at 6 o'clock, 400 High Street.
Yep.
There is some concern that our commissioners aren't understanding the need for these new positions. Their view, of course, is that you've been doing great without them. We could do so much better, and we could do so much more.
And that's, Francois, thank you. That's the
Yeah.
message is, we're doing okay, we're
Yeah.
doing good, but wow, could we be doing,
Yep.
because of the talent in this building, between the children and the teachers and the support we have for, we should be blowing it away.
Yeah.
But we're all spread. I mean, I don't have an assistant principal. I'm not even asking for one. But wow, if I could do that, then I could be more of an instructional leader as opposed to a building manager. And, which are both facets of my job, and I love and don't mind, but I could be impacting curriculum, children, in a different way, and supporting teachers in a different way.
Well,
So,
and we're only 2 years into consolidation, so we are on the verge of burnout, I think, with not enough support for
yeah,
our
you can only
staff.
manage this pace
Mhm.
for so long, and I think that message, thank you for putting it like that, we are doing okay.
Yep.
But that's because of you all and what you do, and that's because of the teachers we have in this building and the kids. I mean, the dedication, the teachers that are here are they're unbelievable. Because Lord knows we're not in it for the money. It's not even about that. Like, they don't even care about that.
Yeah.
It is more about, let me do my job more efficiently, and I can be a better resource and a better support to kids. That's the ultimate.
The part of the lunchroom extension also means that more kids can pass through. Do you know that our teachers every morning take orders for lunches, and then the lunchroom ladies prepare those orders in groups, and then those kids come through in groups? Imagine the time that it will save when we now have a lunchroom that's big enough to get more kids through. Our teachers won't have to spend 20 minutes in the morning taking lunch orders. They can actually, teach during those 20 minutes.
That's
So,
crazy talk.
I know, what am I thinking? So we just gotta, I think, push
Yeah.
and let the
So if you're
commissioners know.
available,
Yes,
you know,
Tuesday,
that would be
400 High Street, 6 o'clock. Wear your Galena shirt.
very beneficial. Very beneficial. I didn't mean to monopolize everything. Do you guys have any questions or any comments or any thoughts or any?
Do you want to do a Dogwood Dart
I
update?
do.
Of course you do.
Please.
Only after questions on construction.
Anything with the construction or any of the positions?
Can I just say, I'm going to miss the elephants on the roof. Won't be the same sitting
We'll
here
save
without
them
that
for you.
noise.
I know, we won't know what to do, will we?
Oh, beyond.
It'll be too quiet. We'll be worried.
Would you like to be on camera, Fiona?
No, not really. I'm showered or clean my teeth.
All right,
This morning.
we'll just be a voice from the sides. We'll
Dogwood
close up
Dart.
on the Dogwood Dart. There you
Close
go.
up. Dogwood Dart is being organised this year by Ivan Wade. And you all know Ivan, right? Yeah. Jacob Wade's in third, I think.
Okay.
So Ivan's running it, and I'm helping. That's the way I like to describe it. I don't think you're familiar with it.
Nope.
Okay, so it's a 5K. It goes from Turner's Unlimited, just up the street.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put this down now? Please?
Only if you want to be on camera.
I don't. Okay, I got front.
There you go. Right. Nice.
This is the sixth one, I believe, the sixth annual Dogwood Dart. It's a 5K trail walk or run, and it goes over the field just up the street by Turner's, and it goes around there. Mr. Waters sets it all up for us. Ivan is put in for the permit, and we are good to go on that run. And we haven't got the permit back, but it shouldn't be a problem. We do it every year. Francoise has kindly agreed to reach out to the sponsors again. Did you see my email last night?
I did. I sent it out this morning.
So I'm hoping you can raise $1,500 in sponsorship.
Okay.
That's your target.
That's double what we raised last year.
I think you got. No, I think you got 1,000 last year.
Did we? I think we were around 800.
No,
Okay.
Well, I got to a 1,500.
Okay.
Or at least 1,000.
Do you want to tell us when it is?
It is the 18th of May.
There's no rain date.
Yep.
And what time?
Registration opens at 7. The race is at 8. Okay. People come, they run, they walk. Kids love it. So it's something you can do, and quite often it's early enough so you can do it before your activities because there's a lot going on.
Is there a cost?
It's pre-registration, which is sending in your forms before the race, at least 2 days before the race. Is $20 for adults, $10 for kids, and with that you should get a free tea. To guarantee a tea, I need them back on the 6th of May. Okay, but we can usually push that a bit. Baycraft said they'd give us the, they would do the teas for us. The price has gone up a little bit. It's gone from $7 to $8. I considered using cheaper cotton ones, but to be honest, those teas are pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I still wear mine from 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you want me to send these forms to Miss Redding so she can put them on the GALES website?
Yes.
Did you change anything on it?
I have made a few changes.
Okay.
PTA people, I took the disclaimer off the Maryland PTA website, so it should be updated, but it's really important we get a disclaimer off everybody. So I'm not going to have time to do it today because I have to go volunteer at Twin School this afternoon, but hopefully Monday I could come in and there'll be the flyer, and then there is a registration form and a waiver on the back. Okay. Sorry, that's the wrong waiver form. It's that waiver, which is just the updated version of last year. So t-shirts are organized. One thing I was going to ask you a favor. Rick Shaw at the high school has the timer. He is impossible to track down. Could you please call him with your principal hat on and say that we need the timer? Could we please borrow the timer for that morning? I can pick it up Friday. I can take it back Monday.
Okay. You got it.
But if you could call him, and I will give you his number after, but I could spend the rest of my life chasing this.
I'll do it. That's no problem.
I'm trying to get the website up and running because I got some comments saying that people, even though it's really expensive to register via the active website, some people like it. I really hate that website. It's just horrible. I spent about 2 hours yesterday trying to get it set up so we could use it, and I got nowhere and no response from active. I will commit more of my life to trying to do it on Monday. In the meantime, I'm going to send this form out anyway. As I said, it's going to go put back Monday. But then, could you do a blast for Save the Date today, if possible?
Yes.
I'll get the forms out Monday. I'll get you to put one of these on the website. I'll send you the copy, put it on yours, blast it around the county. I'll give you a bunch for the pony.
I'll send it to the middle school and high school.
Yeah, I'll give you a bunch for the pony. And then if I can get the website up and running, I'll blast that out too and say, hey, you can also use this website. But as I said, it's a piece of crap. There's a reason that Sam
You're
is
feeling filthy enough.
The opinions expressed by the
Yes. Seriously, web designers need to have that. All right. Okay, so they need to hire someone like
Hey,
because it's rubbish.
I'm sure they have money.
And Sam obviously sadly isn't around, so I don't think we've got any gaps. Jamie helped, she's got bodies to donate some prizes. We'll do what we did last year, it worked fine, but you know, without Sam, blah, blah. Also, did you guys talk about the monies raised from the previous? Have you decided what to do, or don't forget about it? And just
We've talked about putting that money towards the playground that Jessica's looking at
Oh,
expanding.
do you wanna talk about that a little bit? That's exciting.
are you putting in the trail thing with the grant?
No.
We can't do it
because
with
of
the construction.
Because of the construction, we're not gonna do the trail, so that money that's slotted for that, Jessica Robato, which I wish she was here, has talked about expanding our little people's playground so that it's more handicapped accessible. Different slides, different ramps, just a whole lot, swings, just a lot so that our friends can use it. All friends. So she is looking into other grant money as well because it is expensive to do it, but we have a nice amount from Dogwood Dart that we're gonna move over and put towards that because I think it's important
So-
that all of our friends have access to the
Handicap
playground.
accessible.
Yes,
What about-
completely.
We're not going to use the grant that we got for that.
We can't.
We can't.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to check. So
Yeah,
I think
it'll be
you probably want to send some sort of communication about that,
Right.
or maybe do it at a meeting and just say, look, you know, it was raised for this, but we're using it for that.
yes.
If anybody has maybe
It's important that all of our kids can use and have access to playgrounds, and right now they don't.
Yeah, I don't
so-
think anybody's arguing that, but I
Yeah,
think we need
yeah,
to
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I
just we
think
just.
I would take a vote at the next general meeting.
Yep, we
Just
sure are.
well, you know,
This is just things we've been bouncing around in between meetings, so
we will
that's
lose
the plan.
grant. There's nothing we can do, and that makes sense because we want the construction part. I think you need to put it to the vote and then note it in the records, and then I think you're okay.
We also have
That's good.
bingo coming up
Yes.
Friday. Yay! Next Friday, the 12th. What time is it?
6.
6 o'clock at Millington. If people want to still donate for the baskets, we'll accept. We'll have hot dogs, snacks, nachos, baked goods.
Are we doing
Um,
pre-sales on the bingo cards or just at the door?
That's a petty question.
That is yes. Hattie Irvin is in charge of bingo, so
Okay.
that's something she would know, and I can reach out to her and let you know so that you can put a blast out there.
Cool.
We have lots of fun things that I've heard we've received, so it'll be a good turnout. It is our #1 fundraiser, so come out, please.
And
If
maybe
anybody-
share it, if you're able to share
Yes.
the little blurb amongst friends,
Of-
because
Yes.
it is the Kent County Youth Baseball bingo, or quarter action is the same night, so we kind of want to get it out there.
That we're having one too.
Nice.
And if anybody would like to do maybe a little bit of baked goods too, so that we can sell.
Is Phil
That'd be good.
emceeing?
Yes, I believe he is. He better be getting his jokes ready.
Oh, I imagine he'll be recycling some of those.
Yes, I'm sure he will. We'll have dabbers there, and so we have a great crew working on that.
Nice.
And then we also have book fair coming out, May 6th to the 10th. We don't have the time set up yet. I have to get with Miss Redding to get the times, but I'm sure during the day and morning and afternoon. So we'll get you that information to send out to.
Yay.
Okay, perfect.
Wow. You fasten your seatbelts, man. It's gonna be a wild ride till you.
It is.
We have, testing is coming up for grades 3, 4, and 5. That's it's pretty critical, that kids are here every day, that they're trying their best. The message that our teachers are sharing with kids is, you're not gonna know everything on that. You're not. It's impossible, on the PARCC assessments, but just try, and so we would like that message from home too, to be, just do your best, just do your best. I mean, we're not, we're not expecting you to know it all, but we are expecting you to know what you know. So that's the message. Those are gonna be coming up. And just for your information, the math park starts on April 30th, and that's 4 days. And when you say 4 days, you're like, it's not 4 all days, it's an hour, maybe two, we'll block out like 2 hours for kids to move, because we'll have smaller groups, so 2 hours a day will be for the assessment. They're only gonna actually be seated taking the assessment maybe an hour. And they have breaks in between, it's all built in, but that'll be 4 days, April 30th, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then in May, starting May 10th, which is a Friday, that will be the reading language arts one, and that's only 3 days, so it'll be the 10th, the 13th, and the 14th, 3 days. And that is the same idea.
Sorry, what was that, May 10th?
May 10th, 13th, and 14th. It's kind of an awkward Friday, Monday, Tuesday, but it was either our kids do that, which I think because our assessments in the reading language arts don't build on, like what you read on Friday, you're not going to be questioned about on Tuesday, but middle school does. So we were trying to give them a fair shake at having 3 consecutive days, which threw us into a Friday, Monday, Tuesday, which I think is fine. Our kids will be fine. They're so resilient. They're so good.
When's the next pie contest?
Nice break in between.
That was hysterical.
Oh.
Those kids, that was hysterical. They had a great time. So no, next year will be the next pie contest. Thank you. But you couldn't have made it any better by having it on the same day as dress up day.
Yes.
So, we went to Goodwill, the thrift store. People had, bridesmaid gowns in their closets they hadn't worn in years. It was hysterical. It was hysterical. They had such a good time. Good time. It was a good time. Kids still are like, remember, I saw you with pie in your face. My claim to fame.
What was her name? She used to get silly string, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Miss Van Green.
Yeah,
Oh,
covered in
silly
silly
string.
string.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
that'll
yeah.
What was
Towards the end of the year.
It's
we'll
like
think-
field day day.
Yeah, I think it was.
the
It was
class
Sonia.
that
Yeah.
won something
Yeah.
got
And then
to
she got there and water.
Silly stringer.
yeah.
One time she
Nice.
had water balloons too.
All right. Anything, it's 10 o'clock, I don't want to keep you past your time, but if there's anything you need.
PTA I think gave snacks last year for the is it park testing?
Yes, ma'am, yes,
Do you
it
need
is.
snacks again?
Probably healthy snacks.
Let us know the dates again. April 30th through May 3rd.
That might be something like teen class moms can do. Like I can send a note to the homeroom moms and let them
Yeah,
handle
I
it.
think that's what we actually did last year because we signed up for a day.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that is.
I'll
what we
just
did.
remind the teachers to get the message out to
If
their.
not, just let me know.
Yeah.
But I think
PTA
the
can
moms
fill
can
in
do
where
it.
it's not.
We'll do that. Okay.
And
Don't forget, go to the
Yeah,
commissioners
3 to
meeting
5.
Tuesday, April
Commissioners
9th
meeting
at 6
Tuesday,
o'clock.
If you're available, if you're able.
Be there.
I can't remember.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you guys. Thank you very much for coming. I always appreciate it.
Thank you.